The question arises that we need to face, and it's something that we've talked around a little bit here, and I don't know that we've talked to it directly, and that is the issue of profiling. What is it about people that make us think that we should be a little more suspicious of them than somebody else? And I grew up in a law enforcement family, and a couple of things never occurred to the law enforcement extended family that I grew up in, and one of them was to ignore the law or the rule of law, and another one would be to ignore the very evidence in front of your eyes. A good thing about police work and investigation is you see things that are out of order, you notice those, turn your focus on that, wonder why it's out of order, and the instincts and the training, which is profiling to one fashion or another, causes those law enforcement resources to be used in a far more effective fashion, and time after time crimes are solved because there have been police officers that understood the anomalies in the people. Now, it doesn't mean that we use, and I'm opposed to using law enforcement to go out and target people because of race, religion, or ethnicity. But when it's before your very eyes, and when you see people going in and out of the airports, and who has been blowing up our planes and who has been hijacking us, it's young Muslim men. And so I would suggest that instead of spread eagle searching the 80-year-old Norwegian grandmother with blue eyes and white hair, we ought to turn our focus in a higher percentage on the people that fit the profile of the kind that are likely to bomb us. Now, it's unfortunate that there are a lot of innocent people that would fit that profile, but it's far more unfortunate if we waste our resources searching people that have no history and in their profile doesn't fit anybody that would be bombing an airline. And that's just simple common sense, and it's good police work. But we are so politically correct in this country, we wallow in self-guilt in America. We go back and look at ourselves and figure out, somebody once pointed the finger and said, well, you're bigoted, you're racist, and so therefore we have to bend over backwards to demonstrate we'll do all kinds of foolish expenditures of our taxpayers' dollars to avoid anybody being able to point statistically to the focus of resources where the resources should be focused. And I don't suggest, Madam Speaker, that we ought to simply profile and put all of our efforts into one particular profile. I just suggest that we score them according to a weight system and turn our focus on those in proportion to the degree of the score. That makes sense. And I would assume that that would have been the thing we would have done after September 11th, but in reality, no, we're a nation with self-guilt. Another component of this would be Major Hazan. The question that came out was, whatever happened that he got radicalized? We use the term got radicalized as if somehow it's not their fault. We allowed an environment or nurtured an environment. Every individual that attacks people and kills them is responsible for their own actions. And the radicalization does take place. It's by their will and by the will of people like Alaki. And so we are also so politically correct that we won't go in and listen to the radicalization taking place. We won't tape the sermons in the mosques. We simply wait for something bad to happen. Therefore, nobody can point their finger at us and accuse us of being politically incorrect.